Hey YouTubers, and I just wanted to kind of make this really short video about something I really noticed in episode 35 of Dragon Ball Super. Now, it's something a lot of people talked about, but they didn't really explain the broader scope of it, at least in terms of what I'm thinking. Something like basically an in-universe example or some kind of a headcanon example of exactly why not only the multiverse, but the Mirrorverse in particular actually works in Dragon Ball and the Dragon Ball canon, and will actually help the story of Dragon Ball Super going forward. Now, I know I've criticized Dragon Ball Super a lot in this channel, but there are certain things that stand out to me every now and then. They're like genuinely creative or genuinely kind of constructive in order to like really slingshot the story forward if that's what they're going to do, and they're not just going to end it. Now, if you remember, about halfway into episode 35, there was a conversation between the Kais of Universe 6 and Universe 7 in which they were talking about Magetta and the fact that he's a metal man who actually exists in Universe 6. The Kai of Universe 6 actually tells Elder Kai that the Universe 7 should actually have metal men, and this shouldn't be a huge surprise to them because they are the overseers of the universe. And Elder Kai looks at Kibito and says, well, did you know about this guy? And Kibito goes, well, no, I didn't really know about this guy, I'm sorry. And obviously the Kai of Universe 6 is just throwing a whole lot of shade at Universe 7 because they're basically incompetent at this point. And it's basically a joke. But if we look at it a little bit more in depth based on what we know about Dragon Ball and everything, we do remember that in the end of Dragon Ball Z, we had Buu actually take out a majority of the Supreme Kais, leaving only Eastern Kai to kind of pick up the slack for the rest of their people. Now, apparently he did have Kibito Kai, but as far as we know, there are no other Kais basically on the sacred world of the Kais. And this actually kind of goes with the fact that in the end of Z, like those two did not know about the Potara earring fusion. They didn't know that the Elder Kai was trapped in the Z sword, all this stuff. They've been basically blind for the majority of like the existence of this world, at least until like, at least for like the last couple hundred years, 1,000 years. At that point, they haven't had enough resources to actually look and kind of see everything in this universe. That's why they were really put off by the Saiyans being on Earth, or exactly how strong the Saiyans had become in the interim between like the beginning of Dragon Ball and the end of Dragon Ball Z. So it's one of these things that when you introduce a mirror universe into the Dragon Ball Z world, it's a really interesting way for Toriyama and Super to actually bring up, at least in my mind, it's a really interesting way for them to actually bring up and showcase that while there are still strong beings in Universe 7 that could probably go up head to head with Goku, there's no one left to compete with Goku and Vegeta at this point in both universes. And now that they've introduced the cube, as I've said in other videos, I feel like they're going to take that cube and go into other universes. Personally, I really believe that once they call Zerama in the next couple episodes, then that will get the attention of everyone else in other universes, and that's what in the cube, be it from the Universe 6 people may would have hit, or anyone steals it and tries to get away from Champa by going into another universe or anything, that the summoning of the Super Dragon Balls will actually alert everyone to the Dragon Ball's existence. They will take the cube and go into our universes instead of Goku and Vegeta, Beerus, Whis, anybody actually going into other universes. The threat will come within, and that person will want that stuff for his or her wish and everything. So I really think that's an interesting thought. If this tournament did anything at all, it really does well to explain that Goku and Vegeta are basically at the very top of the tier outside of like gods like Beerus, Whis, Champa, Vados, and anyone else. So it's just really interesting to think of it that way. Obviously, there's no one left in these two universes to compete with them, so if Dragon Ball Super is really going to continue as a shonen manga, as it has been since its beginning, shonen manga, shonen anime, it really needs to start going into other universes. And obviously, I feel like that's what they're kind of setting up. I really hope that's what they're setting up. And I just wanted to point this stuff out because I'm not sure how many people have actually thought of it this way or anything. So anyway, thank you for watching the video. If you liked it, please make sure to rate, comment, and subscribe, and have a nice day, everyone.